Okay, so this is kind of the fill, or that's what I'm gonna call it, on the petal. So this is basically the main majority of the petal sequining. I did this basting stitch, if you remember in last week's video. So now I'm gonna take this basting stitch out, and it comes all the way like this way and around, and I'm gonna try to take the one down here out. I don't know if I can without ruining the top, because I do need the one on the top still. But we're gonna kind of work with it and see what we can do. So I'm gonna take the basting stitch out and carefully, and then I will start doing some other kinds of sequins that are a little bit more in this area. They're not gonna be as like clean and crisp. They're gonna kind of be lines of chain stitching going up and around to just kind of fill this area in. We're not gonna go all the way up here. We're just gonna work our way up a little bit. Okay, so the reason it's important to have really like your tight fabric is because when you have I'm just gonna call it like a saggy fabric space to work on, basically your hook can get stuck in between. So like if it's saggy just a slight bit, your hook will start to get stuck when you pull it out, because the whole motion of this embroidery is done straight up and down with the twists of your hook in order to keep the hook moving quickly and moving like seamlessly through the space. So in theory, if like it's saggy over here, you're gonna hit the fabric a lot more, versus if the fabric is tight and you have proper tension on it, you won't hit the fabric nearly as much or at all. So not only does the stitch get easier to do, but you'll have less likelihood of like rips in your fabric. That's just basically from my experience. Obviously, like I am not an expert on this technique. I am just doing it. I'm just learning it just like anyone else. I haven't taken any professional courses on it, but that's kind of what I experienced while I was working on this, is when my fabric was not tight, I was struggling with how fast I was able to actually do the embroidery technique, because my hook kept getting stuck on the sequin side of the fabric. And then I also decided this past week while working on the new petal, this is the first petal, I'm gonna go back and fix it up a little bit, but while working on the new petal, I decided to start using 2 pins when I do this, because I get leverage. So like I'll pin it once on top like I just did, and then I stick a second pin in it. This is all just more twill tape. This twill tape specifically came with the loom. However, I have a ton more of this. I think I have a 100-yard spool of this. So I'm not worried about using a lot of it if I have to. And now we have a nice little drum. Okay, so something else I wanted to talk to you about, even though I'm not using beads in this project, this right here spins, and this tool is actually meant to put beads in here, and then you use one of these hooks, these bead hooks, to kind of like scoop up the beads and get them on your thread. So that is the actual real purpose of this spinny Hoodaddy thing. There is a name for it. You all know how I am in here. I'm not very great at knowing the names of things, but like this is 2 different sized bead hooks. So this hook will kind of go in, like you'll hold it in here while this spins with the beads in it. So you could work for bugle beads as well as seed beads. And while this spins, it will pick up beads. And then once it's full, you can just push, you put your little thread on it down here. So then once like the hook is full, you can just push them onto your thread, and that helps you thread the beads faster. Now that doesn't work with sequins because sequins holes are flat, like they are parallel to this plate, versus beads, when you spin them and when you manipulate them, they can go on their sides and things like that. So that's what this is for. I also want to show you just a really quick thing. Okay, so there are a couple different types of sequins. There are flat sequins, and then there are cupped sequins. And the cupped ones are exactly how they sound. They are slightly cupped, like so. And when you're placing your flat sequins, you can put them on your thread like normal, you saw in the video last week. But when you are placing your cupped sequins, you actually want to thread, so here's my needle, thread them going away from you, because when you think about the technique, you are sewing these so that from the bottom up. So like I am looking at the bottom of all of my sequins and all of my design when I'm working on it. So I want my cups to actually be away from me so that I can, when it is applied, it is actually applied so that the cup is facing the viewer or whoever sees the costume. Now, obviously, if you have some artistic reason to sew them upside down, you totally can. There's no like wrong way to do things. I'm just trying to explain a little bit of the things I did. So you can see here's a cupped sequin and a few other places. So yeah, just trying to explain a few of the things that I did, that in a little bit more detail. I can also explain on this. I did do a little bit more of so I spread these ones out, and to do that, I did chain stitches in between. And that's pretty simple. Like that's why learning the basic chain stitch is the best thing you can do, because once you've learned the chain stitch, everything you do from there is based off of the chain stitch. So it's a lot easier for you to kind of make the things that you want to make. Hi friends. So it's Friday. I normally like finish the sewing work week of these videos Sunday, edit Monday, yada yada. My fabric for the base skirt still has not come in, and I need to dye it, well, and wash it, obviously, because I'm dyeing it, and then sew it up. I'm not sure I can do that all on Sunday, so I think I'm gonna have to do a separate video with the base. I don't know if I'm gonna do its own video. Would y'all be interested in like a 5-minute video one week on just the base of the skirt, like what the petals are all gonna be attached to? Or would you prefer me to wait, like hold that footage until we start actually adding the petals of the skirt? That could mean that the petal skirt video, which will probably be around December, is gonna be beefy. Like I'm talking 30, 45 minutes beefy. So let me know in the comments below if you don't mind a 5-minute video on how to do the base skirt, or if you would like me to hold that footage until the whole thing is done and I'll upload a massive video. So yeah, but anyway, that's Eva barking. There will be no base skirt construction in this video, even though last week I said that's what I was gonna do. So, I'm sorry. I hope you can forgive me. Fabric ordering and things, you know? All right, so this is the rolled hem without the fishing line, and I like it so much better. I have pressed it. I have a new idea for order of operations. I'm not gonna do these full like U strands of sequins. What I'm gonna do instead is just do my little fill on the sequin and then cut this out with an inch, burn the edge, because I learned on this one that I can burn the edge and it will just help keep it from fraying as I go on the curve. So then I'll burn the edge and then I'll go back to the petal when I'm done rolling the hem, and I will fill in with these 2 rows. It won't probably be timbre, it'll probably have to be by hand, which is fine. But it's basically because with my foot, when I try to get like really close to the sequins, like I did down here, it doesn't always suck it in. Like it doesn't always, like it frayed before I was able to actually roll it. And so I lost like gaps over here. So that's just gonna have to be how it happens, I guess. I don't know how they do it on Broadway. I mean, I can tell that they do this stitch, and obviously I can tell that these are they use the sequins, but I also know that the gap between the sequins and the stitch is much closer. So the only way I can think of fixing that is by going in after the fact and hand sewing some more in, because like that just is too much of a gap. I don't know if there's a foot I can buy. I might do some research on that. That is like a rolled hem foot that is like skinnier than the one I have, but this is where we're at. We have 2 petals that I'm calling done. I am reserving the rights to redo this petal down here if I think it just looks absolutely awful and I get really good at doing this hem. But that's it. Yay! Okay, so I completely forgot to film an outro for this video, so we're gonna do this the old-fashioned way on my cell phone. So just really quick, next week, April 6th at 2 p.m. Eastern, it's a Wednesday, I'm gonna be doing a live stream of the timbre embroidery. It's gonna be like 25 minutes of embroidery and like pretty piano and 5 to 10 minutes of answering questions. I am structuring it that way because I'm not very good at, I can't read the chat from where I would be streaming. So that's just how I have to do it. And I would also just kind of like it to be a little bit more chill and not so like hype, crazy, look at me, attention type content I used to make for Twitch. That's not what this is about. This is really just about giving you all an opportunity to ask questions and see the technique. And finally, if you're really loving this project and you would like to help support it, please consider Patreon or Ko-fi. I did have to just purchase some more fabric. I have to purchase cotil still for the bodice. There's probably a lot more that I still have to purchase that I don't know about. We know there's at least another $150 worth of sequins to be purchased, not including everything I'll need for the crown and wand. So if you like this project, please consider supporting it over on Patreon or Ko-fi. Otherwise, I think that's everything for this week. I hope you liked this video. I hope I'm doing an okay job at explaining how I'm tackling these petals. I feel like we're gonna have to have another petal video in like a couple months when I've gotten into like an official, this is how I've been making them. So anyway, I will chat with you all next week on Wednesday. There won't be any video, there'll just be a live stream. So the live stream is replacing the video. I'll talk to you guys next week. And until next time, may all your dreams come true.